Hello YouTube, my name is Bueller and welcome back to the OtakuZone. Now today I'm joined by the F-Panico.
Thanks, man.
This is the third part of our series for the Pokemon series, and we're basically just be talking about how things are just gonna be going from now on. It's like the future of Pokemon. What is it that we expect? What is it that we want? And as a whole, we'll give it a small rating that we have in our minds right now. But once again, thank you for joining me, F-Panico.
Thanks, man.
So we have talked about how the series as a whole has actually developed throughout the years, how we were introduced to the games, and how they actually became a big part of our lives. For me, at least, I play every generation out there because it's just fun in itself to be able to go through each region and actually catch different types of Pokemon. At the same time, I do like the stories in most of the Pokemon series, and or at least in the games. But for the F-Panico, what are your thoughts about it?
I've generally liked pretty much every story in the series of games.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I view as, I guess, too easy. I still view Black and White as too easy of a game. And I understand why. It's especially Gen 1, sometimes it's a little difficult, I'd say. Especially because you're going in with about the same level
As what it is supposed to be.
Yeah. You're at the same, so...
I do understand what you're saying. Basically, for us, Generation 1 was a more difficult problem because of two main reasons. One, it was the very first Pokemon game we ever got.
Yep.
And at the same time, the game was at its level for every single stage of the game. So if, let's say, you were fighting a gym leader level 20, your Pokemons were a little lower than that when you were entering the gym.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit difficult for beginners like us at the beginning, of course, to go into Generation 1 like that. While in later generations, they decided that having them as that would probably be really bad for business.
Yeah, a little bit.
So they implemented a little bit of handicap for the game itself. The game actually did decrease in levels as generation came along. I do think the Generation 2 had the primary one, of course.
Yeah.
But newer generations actually, like Generation 3 and 4 and even 5, actually do have the concept that when you enter a gym, the levels were lower than your own Pokemon. So you could actually go through the entire game with the most overpowered Pokemon. I do remember, I think I did one time in the game, I actually put my starter in Generation 3 and then just went completely nuts throughout the game.
Yeah.
Like I had a couple other different Pokemons, but I never really just like trained all the Pokemons because experience share was rare at the beginning.
It was used as a just held item rather than a key item.
Right, so for the first few generations of Pokemon games, the series only have one experience shared through one of your Pokemons.
Yeah.
So you can only share experience with one Pokemon at a time when you were battling with a different Pokemon, of course. But it just the concept just didn't actually held up for a lot of people. So they implemented the experience share to be a area effect.
Yeah.
And give it to every Pokemon in your team. People were trying different things on how that actually worked, but I mean, in the end, every single one of your team just give same experience at one point,
Mm-hmm.
Not the same as the one actually battling, but that being said,
Yeah.
So, what do you think the Pokemon games could actually do later, like in the future? What is it that they need the entire game to start?
Since berries are still generally a little overpowered, strengthening some of the steel and poison types, because some of the poison types I would consider pretty weak.
That's true.
Yeah.
Although right now in Generation 7, I think they introduced a pretty strong poison type Pokemon.
Yeah.
Generation 7, at least in the recording of this video, has actually only come out in a few months' time, and the anime itself has only 14 episodes. in Japan at least.
Yep.
So the introduction of Generation 7, hopefully they introduce some of the Pokemons to actually be less overpowered and more overpowered in different ways, at least for the games. But in it of itself, they did introduce pretty strong Pokemon for this generation too. Do you think that the games itself will be able to grow both in consoles later on?
And lights through the Switch.
Yeah.
There was already one.
As in talk of it, I wrote a little rumor of it.
Yes.
That the actual creator of the games, or at least somebody who works in the games, I had an interview. Someday I'll actually get all this information, of course. But they did say that it's a possibility that the games will actually be developed into newer consoles like the Nintendo Switch. But that being said, of course, if we were to actually have, at least for my opinion, if we were to have a game in console, then they would introduce the concept of being able to return to older regions. I do think that the games do require just that one piece of gaming fact. Now, throughout the summer generations, the only one that you can actually play with 2 regions on it is this gold and silver version.
And Crystal, and I believe,
and the remix of it, of course.
Yes.
The remix, of course, had to go with how the games were back in the day, so they had to implement both the second region out there.
Yes.
Being able to actually go to a different region is pretty cool because you actually get to battle different gym leaders and different things. So I do think that at least the games can actually implement newer or older generations in the games, as long as the game is able to actually get it. They could also do special events where they're able to actually take a ticket to one of those regions and just fly out from the newer generation to older generations, you know. That being said, I feel like that actually might be a more bigger thing because they want to make more money out of it.
Yeah.
Instead of just implementing the generation already there. We know that at least at the making of this video, we had Generation 7 and Sun and Moon came out just a couple months ago. We do have the one before that, which is a remake of the Sapphire and Ruby Generation 3 Pokemons, implemented with the new concept of both Fairy type Pokemons and the Mega Evolutions, of course.
Yes.
So when this came out, of course, that's that remake that we have right now. Now Sun and Moon is a brand new concept. Now, probably by how the history is right now, I do think that probably Generation 4 will be the next remake coming in before a new generation comes out of Pokemon. That's probably gonna be in the next year or so, but knowing how long the anime usually runs, it's probably gonna be in 3 years before we actually get into generation.
Yeah.
Now, for the anime side, at least, I do think that Generation 6 was actually one of the best we had in a long time, for the reasons of being implemented to more 3D battling and 3D, I guess, contests.
Yes.
But at the same time, the new introduction to both Fairy types and Mega Evolutions was actually pretty strong for Ash and his team. Being able to overcome that was actually pretty good, and having Ashes as a full-fledged team was actually pretty good instead of having him with weaker pre-evolution Pokemons out there, you know. So I do think that the anime series could actually still implement that to the new series, but since Sun and Moon is still pretty early in the series, we still don't know how it's gonna go. Now that now that we don't have gym battles in Sun and Moon, we'll see how Ashes goes through it. Now he did go through his first trial and grand trial of the island already, so
yes.
Right now, of course, Ash is pretty mediocre because he has 2 Pokemons, being the starter Growly and Pikachu, of course. You know? So it's gonna take a little while before we actually see anything development, but I do hope that they bring back some of the characters like Serena, and and at the same time they actually implement some of the 3D battling and animation back then. I do think the animation could work a little better in the later things, you know, in later time. So, what is your rating for the games? What do you give it as a, let's say, out of 5 stars, I guess?
I'd say 4.
Okay, so
Yes.
you're giving a little room of improvement because of not being the best of the best, but knowing that the series has been going for 20 years and we have lived through those 20 years, we are pretty much in love with the game.
Yeah.
As for me and the anime, I do want to give it maybe a lower rating than that, probably just maybe a 3.5.
Alright.
Again, for the reasons of they could actually do better
Yes.
in many things. Now, I can't say that the concept of Ash growing up will actually be ever implemented in the game.
Probably
I do
not.
think that X and Y was probably his best time out there. So at that point, of course, or at least at the making of this video, we'll be seeing in future events how Ash develops from now on, you know, and how they actually want to bring a lot of different things back and all that. Hopefully, C moves are not gonna be the only thing that will be implemented in the game or in the series. I'm sorry, but Mega Evolutions will make a comeback at some point in the series.
Yes.
And of course, we have new movies coming out. So eventually, the series itself will be running from now on. But once again, thank you very much for joining us for today's video. This has been my small little nostalgia trip to the Pokemon series, and at the same time, some of the things that we actually want to see in the near future.
Yes.
The F-Panico, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, man.
So yeah, hopefully you guys like the video, and hopefully I'll be able to edit this correctly. But if you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, give whatever notification you want in that thing in the YouTube. I don't really care, but thank you very much for joining us. So yeah, I'll see you everybody.